Welcome, everybody, to Canadian history, the darker side. And we'll be touching on a bit of numismatics as well. Welcome to everybody on board. I'm the old skipper. Been a while since I've been on, and it feels good to be back. So today, we're using a different format. We're going to be sharing with you some of the history that you probably haven't heard about Canada. And as they say, there's two sides to every coin. Coin joke. Oh, yes. We've got an incredibly long history dating back about 300 years when Samuel de Champlain first arrived on these shores. And in the history books and in school, they tend to teach the whitewashed version. You get to see all the wonderful things that they've done and kickstarting or priming the pump to get the nation started. But they tend to neglect the things that they don't want you to hear. Now, I don't believe in cancel culture. I believe that we should know where we've come from, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that way you can decide for yourself, what type of person this is and what Canada really was like in the beginning. And I'm going to be covering a fairly long period of time. Today, we're going to be sticking around the period when Samuel de Champlain arrived in North America. I've taken the liberty to bring up a short 3-minute video that I'm going to share with you all that will give you the typical highlights of what we're taught about this gentleman. And then I'm going to share with you some of the details that you don't hear that much. I also invite you to use the chat right here to chat back and forth, discuss with me your ideas. If you have any insights or information you want to share, by all means, let's do it. And throughout this event, what we'll do is we'll periodically take a break, and I'll share some coins and things that we have in Canada, starting off with some of the newer things that have come out. But I will be doing a wide range of the Canadian coinage. Also, as time progresses, I hope to get Dale from Coin World UK and Austrian Stacker from Austria to share some information on the coinage from their countries. And, of course, anybody else that would like to arrange to share US coinage, Spanish coinage, Australian, whatever, and just get a general idea of what's out there. And it could be anything from information on the coins themselves, or being able to see how coins are graded, or seeing how coins should be what's the right word? You should catalog them to make sure that you know what you have in your collection. I see all kinds of great people in here right now. I want to welcome, of course, Blistering Barnacle. He's always good. Silver Knight Kyle. Oh my goodness, it seems like a lifetime since I've seen you guys. David Carlisle, of course, always a pleasure. And of course, we have the wonderful KK that has shown up. Welcome to you all. And with that, I am going to start off with giving you a brief video about Samuel de Champlain. Again, this is the way they teach it in school.
Often called the father of New France, Samuel de Champlain was a French explorer and navigator who mapped much of what is now Canada.
Samuel de Champlain is known primarily for having founded the city of Quebec, for also exploring and mapping the Great Lakes region.
Samuel de Champlain was born in Brouage, France in 1567 and learned the skills of a mariner from his father, a ship captain. Later, Champlain demonstrated his skills as a navigator in his own travels to the West Indies and Central America.
In 1603, Samuel de Champlain sailed to North America for the first time. He sailed as an observer on the voyage of François Gravé Dupont to report back to Henry IV. They traveled up the St. Lawrence Seaway. They made contact with the Native Americans. They reconnoitered for the fur trade, and then essentially they returned.
The following year, Champlain was asked to be the geographer for another French expedition to North America. This time, he spent 3 years mapping what is now northeastern Canada and founded the city of Quebec in 1608.
Champlain was a very talented explorer, and among the things that he finds is the body of water that we now refer to as Lake Champlain.
After the settlement of Quebec, Samuel de Champlain realized that he needed the help of the Huron in order for the settlement to survive. And for the Huron, that meant a military alliance. So for Samuel de Champlain, that required fighting the Iroquois alongside the Huron.
After helping the Huron, Champlain returned to France and married Hélène Brulé in 1610, who at only 13 was 30 years his junior. Champlain then returned to North America to continue his explorations up the St. Lawrence River.
After going back and forth across the Atlantic several times, Champlain finally convinced some hardy French men and women to go and settle on the banks of the St. Lawrence River, and these people became the founders of the modern colony of New France, which we now call Canada.
In 1611, he explored further up the St. Lawrence River and settled the site of what becomes the city of Montreal.
King Louis XIII cut Champlain's explorations short when he ordered him to return to Quebec and act as its administrator. When the English captured Quebec in 1629, Champlain was taken to England as a prisoner of war.
Quebec was restored to France under the Treaty of Saint-Germain-en-Laye, and Samuel de Champlain was appointed as the lieutenant governor of the colony and able to return to Canada.
After spending 40 years of his life trying to establish French settlements in the New World, Samuel de Champlain died on Christmas Day, 1635, in the city he founded, Quebec.
Well, Samuel de Champlain. As you heard, they did make minor reference to the alliance he made with the Iroquois, and explained a little bit about the fact that he had been captured by the British, and they managed to arrange for him to be released. And I'll tell you, it's yes, Kremlin. This is the darker side of Canadian history, but we're touching on the numismatic part as we go along. He was not exactly the nicest man. He genuinely was not. And I'll just bring up a little here so that you can see. Here we go. All right. Now, you got to understand that when he landed, they basically started shooting at one another almost immediately, within 200 yards. So he mentions in his biography that he stood firm and had not yet noticed my white companions who went off into the woods with some Indians. Forgive the old expression in Canada. We use First Nations now. Our Indians began to call to me with loud cries and to make way for me. They divided into two groups and put me ahead some 20 yards. And I marched on until I was within 30 yards of the enemy, who, as soon as they caught sight of me, halted and gazed at me and I at them. When I sat and saw them make a move to draw their bows upon us, I took aim with my arquebus and shot straight at one of the three chiefs. And with this shot, two fell to the ground, and one of their companions was wounded, who died thereof a little later. So even though he was the founder of Quebec City and he established New France, almost immediately he was fighting with the Aboriginals in North America. So he was not exactly the nicest guy in the world. There's literally accounts that he had actually slaughtered literally thousands with the assistance of the Iroquois. And he went all over the area of Quebec, what is now Quebec. He had established 3 companies of French that went about, and they went to the Algonquin and the Iroquois, and they talked to them in their lodges, made alliances. They utilized, and again, keeping in mind back then they weren't carrying coins in their pockets like we do. They used beads and furs and anything to barter, but they convinced them to side with the French. And essentially, what was originally just a trivial problem between the different bands of natives, he turned it into an outright war. And that war went on for quite a very long time. Now, for the Iroquois campaign against the Algonquins, it didn't let up at all for many years, and it was mainly because of the fur trade. The very reason for the French presence. From Quebec, Champlain and a force of 20 men proceeded 70 miles upstream to Batscan, where they found a large camp of Algonquins and Hurons, a great rich race of traders whom he met for the first time. With their respective chiefs, Irquet and Aquin, he performed the solemn ritual of greeting, exchanging gifts, and smoked the pipe. He actually even went about and he did a war dance with them. So he established himself as a solid ally. Now, some of the things that they did, the methods that they used when planning these campaigns, the natives relying upon their medicine men's conversations with the devil is one of the things that they actually adhered to. These pilotis or ostemos would retire to a tent where the much groaning, writhing, shaking of the tent pole and perspiration, they would inquire as to the expedition's chances of success and how many of the enemy would be killed. Champlain thought these wizards to be scamps and questioned the Indians' faith in their prophecies, as out of 100 words, all these scoundrels who pretended to be wizards do not speak two that are true, and go on deceiving those poor people to get from them, as do many others in this world who resemble these gentry. He goes on to say, I often pointed out to them what they did was pure folly, and that they ought not to believe in such things. Well, Champlain's views notwithstanding, he conducted their rituals, and the chiefs then taking sticks of a foot long, one for each man, and indicating by others somewhat longer their leaders. Then they went into the wood and leveled off a place 5 or 6 feet square, where the headman, as sergeant major, arranges all these sticks as to him seems best. Then he calls all his companions, who approach fully armed, and he shows them the rank and order which they are to observe when they fight with the enemy. So again, so right from the very beginning, we've got warfare going on. Now, this gives an idea of what the Indian villages look like, and as you can see, they're well defended. And of course, the French took advantage of this, and they established forts, and that's alongside of their native allies. And I mentioned earlier, yeah, their commerce was essentially beads, wampum. We all have different ideas of what currency is, and that's what they used back then. And this is typical of a native village with the long houses. Now, it was really Champlain's use of his firepower that really turned the tide of the battles, especially during 1609, where essentially you had these wars going on between the different tribes that were absolutely brutal, and it went on for many, many years. In fact, for Samuel de Champlain, they had skirmishes with the Iroquois on the shore of Lake Champlain, which basically meant personal glory among his native allies as a brave and dependable friend. It is quite a violent history right from the beginning. Yeah, when we're talking currencies, again, like I say, they were using the barter system and using wampum to pay off their Indian allies. Yes, it's you hear about all the good. I mean, he established New France and put a foothold in North America, but at what expense? He set all these tribes head to head when again it was trivial before he showed up, and they became full-fledged wars. Yeah, I know. It's amazing how history repeats itself. It was the mindset back then, and they looked at them as as savages and someone to take advantage of. And even when you think about it, even when you look at the name Indian, they weren't Indians. They weren't from India, but that name stuck, and I believe it's still used today in the United States. Canada, they've done away with that. Yeah, this is Queen Nessie. This is just one of many. Like I say, I can't touch on them all, but over the course of this series, I'm going to try to go through quite a few different battles that have taken place here in Canada that a lot of people aren't aware of. The loss of life was phenomenal, but again, those are things that are lost in history. Now, let's take our breather and take a look at some of the things that the Royal Canadian Mint has come out with for our new king, King Charles III. They brought out a lovely little package here, and it's got a series of coins in there. You can see 6 coins. You got a loonie, a toonie, 50-cent piece, a quarter, nickel, and dime. And none of them are precious metals in these ones. These are all clad, but they are actually quite nice. And these are struck in the Winnipeg Mint. There's the obverse here. You can see King Charles III with his big ears. And of course, in Canada, the only way that you can get the 50-cent pieces are either in these sets or in rolls. So if you are a collector, that's how you're going to get them. You'll probably see them on eBay and different places, or I'll probably have a few that I'll put up for sale once I break some of these sets down and put them in my albums. But they're quite nice. The other set that they came out with was the 2024, and the 2024 set. It's actually quite a nice set. It's called Our Home in Native Land. And again, it consists of the same, except you take a look at the loonie. It's actually got a different reverse than the other set. And it shows what appears to be a big beaver paddling a boat. Well, there's a design for you. So those are some of the things that are coming out, or that are out now. All right. Well, let's get rid of that there. Hello, you're still in my face. You can tell it's been a while. It's been 3 months since I've been on. Here we go. Oh, what's this? Oh, okay. Now see, you won a UK 20 pence. And send it back to the UK. It is absolutely priceless. Really? I cannot believe that. William! Oh, is it ever good to see you on board? My goodness. So yes, I'll be again making these live videos as often as I can get them out, at least once a week anyway. And it's been 3 months or more since I've been on. My friends in Austria and UK, they've been tied up with issues, so they haven't been able to go on. Well, it's time that the old skipper got back on board and started doing his thing. So I hope you enjoy these. Do any of you have any information on Samuel de Champlain and what went on? Because this information is quite interesting. We're going to be sticking around that same period. In fact, the next series will be on the siege at the Long Sault, and that'll be quite an interesting little bit that we'll cover. Oh, excellent. Yeah, it's coming home. Busman's holiday. Yeah, it is an interesting time we're living in. We're trying to accommodate the changes that's going on in society. We're seeing things going on that is quite distressful, but in reality, it's something that has been consistent throughout human history, which is a sad thing, because many of us strive to get away from the wars. And Canada, even though it's considered, well, it has considered in the recent past to be a peacekeeping nation. You know, they weren't out to start anything other than when Afghanistan kicked in, and they had to help out with that. That was a 12-year war, and there was actually, I believe, 154 actual deaths in Afghanistan, but there was well over 1,000 who died after they got home because of issues they had to deal with operational stress injuries. And that's a sad thing that has happened, and that's what happened in all the wars, every one of them, except those were not recorded. Whereas nowadays we know that. And there's Christopher Ty. My goodness, hi, Christopher. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's so nice to see everybody on. Yeah, please hit that like button if you get a chance. So I'm going to try to kickstart. I believe I'm just under 100, just over 100 away from my 1,000, and I'd like to at least get that. But the hours have got to get going here because they're going to reset me here. Serves me right for being off for so long. Gee, who isn't hunting? Actually, I'm just waiting to get my new Charlton, which is kind of like the Red Book that the U.S. have. For some reason, they didn't bring it out till this month. But I'm so far behind. This is all my sorting I have to do. My U.S. collection, again, I've just restarted that, but I'm going to put that in with my world album to get that kick-started. Essentially, it's like being a brand spanking new collector. I got to start right fresh. Had Jason from Jason Cagle, he's down in Jacksonville, sent me a bunch of U.S. quarters that were in lovely shape. I'm going to get them put into my album as well. Oh my goodness gracious, Rebecca. Always a pleasure, dear. You know what? Tell you the truth, yeah, it's kind of, as they say, buy low, sell high. But when it comes to my collection, I'm that doesn't bother me so much. But for stacking, yeah, I'm looking for if I'm going to buy silver or heaven forbid if I can afford it, gold. I look for the cheapest stuff I could find. And one of the little tricks that I discovered, and why I never thought of it before, because I always use Silver Gold Bull, which is an outfit here in Canada, to buy my silver, is that Costco, because I'm an executive member, I can go in there and I can get first off, and it's near spot when you buy it, but because I'm an executive member, I get an extra 2% off, which actually means I'm actually paying below spot. So I'll pick up the odd piece, not a lot, but I'll pick up. I'm of the mindset consistency, but when it's costing you more, buy less. If it's costing you less, buy more. Yeah, we do have to collect our post office only has the collectible coins, and they're nice. Like like I showed earlier, you can get sets like this in the post office, which is no problem. But or getting yourself the the lovely silver rounds that they have. Canada makes some really nice coins. The only thing is I don't know about you, but I don't buy every single one that comes out. I have, as you know, I have a theme that I use and try to stick to. So if I have something that has military aircraft or tanks or flags on it, or anything to do with the service ships, I will pick up one of those coins and it'll go into my collection. But that's a completely separate thing. How many people here separate your collection. And I'm sure, being a collector, you collect more than one thing. I mean, I have challenge coins. I have the mint coins, the collectible ones. I have the circulation coins that are out there. It's just, what do you want to do? How many of you use exonumia to anchor your coin collection to? That's something I enjoy doing. I'm sure that you know about that. Austrian stacker. You must be off work because I haven't seen you forever. Oh my goodness. It is so nice to see you up. I'm going to have to work out a way to invite you up to visit. Anniversary stamp set at the post office. I'm so tempted to buy one. That's the joy of going to the post office and they lay stuff out. It's just like when you shop at Tesco or Safeway or Shoppers or whatever. They always lay out the stuff that's impulse buy, and post office is famous for putting stuff out there. And I go in there and I leave my fingerprints on the glass. Excuse me. Well, actually, I do. I have ancients as well, Gremlin. Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the things that I do as well. Queen Nessie, hi. My goodness, hi. So nice to see you on. My goodness. Yeah, I made talking about ancients. Geez, ancients. You guys that collect ancient coins are kind of like rock stars to me, because what you do with classical numismatics, that's tough. That's tough, especially if you're getting coins. Excuse me. Especially if you're getting coins that happen to have the attribution done. So there you are sitting there using wild winds or some your charts, whatever it is that you're using to identify these things. And they're not easy to identify. I've tried that. And it's just like, I think I've gotten close to some of them, but I finally sat back and go, you know what? Number one, there's too many fakes out there. I discovered that quick enough. Number two, if you're not an absolute professional at trying to identify them, 9 times out of 10 you're going to misidentify them. Get them so that they're already identified. Get them so that you got the attribution done, and then you can add them to your collection. I have a couple in there. My favorite I have is my silver denarius from Mark Antony, which is a very cool coin. Kind of hold that one in. That's for Christmas. Yeah, don't be afraid to share your links too. See if I can figure this one out here. Yeah. That's right. Orange trains and red lemonade. Yeah. Yeah, it's only 6 months. Actually, it's less than that. I got in Christmas in July, July 25th. I go to all the daycares in and around Edmonton. Not dressed in the suit. I have my own Hawaiian shirt, my Santa hat. I go visit the kids and read them stories. But this year I'm slowing. I'm doing mostly YouTube for Santa, and I will be doing Cabela's. I'm actually going to be leaving West Edmonton Mall because doing both at the same time, it was just too much. They had me working 42 straight days, and I was at my age that was too much. So I'll just bring in a few extra dollars for Christmas. And I'm going to have, for those of you that don't know, after many years of being an empty nester, the skipper here has got his son, one of his sons, and his spouse and my grandson moving in with me. So we're doing a downsizing, giving them a couple of the rooms upstairs, and we're giving them the opportunity to save some money so they can get their own place or buy this place, because it's now getting to the point where I'm looking at getting myself into a senior's residence, a single floor instead of this is a 4-level split, so there's a lot of walking up and down. It's getting a bit tough, but it's going to be fun. For the next 3 years, I'm going to have people to help me decorate the house and do cleaning and yard work and put in a garden, and maybe I can even coerce them into getting into my hobby, because I've already told them that this old guy is not going to put this stuff in the will to somebody that is not a collector. If you're a collector, you'll get it. So yeah, that'll give him a little bit of an incentive. The metro in Glasgow is called the Orange. Why am I not surprised? Yeah, and you know what? The house, Nessie, is set up so that it's not like we have too many televisions. Actually, we do. Virtually, we have probably 4 or 5 large screen TVs. The bedrooms all have a television in them. So they can have their own space. They don't. A lot of their stuff is going to go into storage, as is a lot of ours. We're going to split a storage unit, and make do with the space we have. And speaking of the devil, Sandman Coins Collectibles. Cheers, brother. Yeah. My missus is Tracy. She's been bouncing off walls ever since Sandman sent her that coin. He sent her a Bass Reeves collectible round, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Silver, beautiful. Of course, she's gotten in the habit now. She claims that she's not a collector. She's got hordes of coins up there, and not to mention a lot of the pours I've got. Like Dale did me a beautiful pour of Sword in a Stone, and as soon as that came in, lovely package. It was gorgeous. I bet you I had it 5 minutes. It's upstairs on her desk. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, the other thing that we're looking forward to here is we're trying to get it so that we have both have our passports. We plan on doing a fair amount of travel. I can guarantee you I will be coming to the UK. Tracy's family is all in Manchester, or thereabouts. We've got a lot of good friends there down in Wales and just outside London. We've got a number of people, and of course, quite a few of you that are out there that might want to have a little get together and sit down in a pub or coffee shop and Maybe have an order of fish and chips. I don't know. Not in Brighton, though. I didn't like the fish and chips there. Those little pubs, they make the best fish and chips. The other thing is, I'd like to. She wants to go to Salem, Massachusetts. Apparently, she wants to see some of her family that are buried there. I knew that room she had was special. Yeah, you keep you keep doing those videos there, Blistering Barnacle. I'll know most of your area by the time I get there. I just have to get in good enough shape to get back on a bike again. I got the most beautiful bike in the garage. That thing has been sitting there for 2 years. Problem is, because of the back injury I have, I can't throw my leg over the bike. That also explains why I can't ride a motorcycle anymore. And this thing has got all the bells and whistles. Oh, that's a gorgeous bike. And I'm hoping with my treatments that I'm having now and dropping 100 pounds or so, I'll be able to ride the bike again and get out there and get some fresh air. Yeah, Brighton was okay. You know, when we went down to see the Mary Rose and the shipyards and all that stuff. That was part of the tour that we did, and I was kind of shocked to see. If many of you don't know this, you go to the UK, you're going to see palm trees. You're going to it's you get to certain areas there, and it is tropical. Blew me away. Am I organized? I'm working on it. I'm working on it. If I could get a young person that's in college or university that has the skills or the skill set to work with social media and help me put together a decent I've got 4 different channels, but this is of course the most active one. I don't have the patience to sit in front of these YouTube videos they put on to teach you, especially when you get somebody in there with a Indian accent, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, what is he saying? Oh my gosh. I need someone that's actually hands-on and, basically put your hands on the keyboard right here, and these are the ones you type, and, I'll be able to do it. Well, that's good. That's good because I thoroughly enjoy the trip. Yeah, I got to the point now where I know where you're going to do the crosswalk. I know where you're going to turn right. It's like an ASMR video. I look like I'm in. Oh, I'm going to send that to voicemail. Okay. No, the place I'm sitting in right now is my space. This is all my coin collections, all my books, all my this is my space. This is actually my bedroom now. No, I don't sleep in a bed. I have one of those lift chairs, but it's so bloody comfortable I fall asleep in it all the time. I have a hospital bed upstairs, and I'm donating that to my wife because apparently I snore too bad anyway. So at my age, I don't care. So she'll have her own room, and she can sleep in that thing. That bloody mattress upstairs is like sleeping on a rock. I can't do it. Yeah, I guess it does look a little bit like a shop. Yeah. Again, this is part of my hobby is I do displays. I joined an outfit called uh, Operation Vet Build, and what it is through the Legion. You have an organization that provides you with various model kits, of ships and tanks and planes and stuff like that. And so it doesn't cost you a cent. You sit there, they lay out the mats, they have the glue and they have the paints, they got everything laid out there, little knives and stuff, so you don't have to bring anything. And you can build models. And I've done quite a few of them where I've used those models as anchors for my coin collection. So gives it a better look. The only thing is, instead of painting them the actual colors, usually a khaki green or the camouflage, I actually got the bronze or the bronze paint, spray paint, so they look like bronze in there. It looks very cool. Yeah, it really is. I'm actually I fall asleep in that thing all the time. Usually when I don't want to fall asleep, I'll fall asleep. When I do want to fall asleep, I'm wide awake. But it's I got two of them. I got one down here for Tracy too. So she's got one. Hers is it's kind of like the Three Bears. Hers is too small for me, but it vibrates and it's got heat. So once in a while, if I want to get a little heat on my back, I'll sneak into hers. But mine is once it's laid out, it's like it's a bed. It's absolutely wonderful. Oh yes, the library. That Nancy is as I always said, if you're a collector, you typically collect more than one thing. I collect rare books, and I'm always looking for ones that are unique. In fact, I'll show you one of the ones that I've got back there that I'm really excited about having. I know Jason's gonna like this. Printed in 1900. You recognize that character? The book is called Baden-Powell, the Hero of Mafeking. And these are the kind of books, and you try to get them as good a shape. That jacket's original. It's in pretty darn good shape. There's no watermarks or anything in it. And yeah, these are great. This is the kind of thing that I collect. I got quite a few of them that are. I got one there that was put out during World War I in 1916, showing all the battle plans that they had. So the war wasn't even over, and this was what they were showing off what they've done. Based, who wants? I would not want to be in the thin red line, shouting bullets, running across and having a machine gun shot at you. That's taking old warfare and mixing it with modern stuff, and it's the two don't mix. That's why they lost so many men. But yeah, I've got one of those books, which is cool. Again, like I say, we were talking about the darker side. This is where I've got a keen interest of showing that Canada isn't just at the moment a very confused nation, but it's supposed to be a peacekeeping nation. And it was for 300 years. It wasn't. It absolutely wasn't. And I'll show that periodically through the live feeds. Oh yeah. You know what? I got to figure out. Hold on a second. I got to figure out how to do that. I can't do it from StreamYard. phone here. Well, we had two, the Hudson Bay Company and the Northwest Company, and they were constantly at odds, fighting one another. There we go. There you go, Nessie. See if I missed anybody else here. William. Didn't do William either. He should be on there too. There, that's better. And that way you can share your links out. Got everybody. If I missed anybody, just let me know. Oh, there's one too. Wonderful. I meant to ask William, how are you doing? I know you had quite the accident there. Oh, you got the same shirt. You like my coin collector shirt? Yes. Yeah, I like that one too. And of course, me being in Canada, I don't want short sleeve. It's too bloody cold up here. Even today, it's like 6 degrees Celsius. It's just above freezing. The northeast of England. Yeah, that's one thing I do miss traveling. It's well, I think the last time I did any significant traveling was 2018. 2017, I was in Europe. 2018, I headed down south. Actually, did a driving tour down through Helena, Montana, then on into Utah, and crossed a little stretch of land that was Arizona, which I was kind of surprised to see it that far, and then into Nevada, and went to Henderson, Nevada, where I played poker. Yes, the old skipper likes to play cards. Yeah, I know. I'm not very happy either. Everything is going up, 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 and our Canadian dollar. Oh my goodness! Oh, it's going to get to the point where we're going to have bills like $1 billion in order to get one American. It's stupid. Good to see. You know what? That's close to my favorite temperature. Between 60 and 70, I love it. Especially love it at the time of year where the bugs haven't come out yet. The only bug I have in the house is upstairs sleeping right now. Yeah. Yeah, most of us up here have got the bug. Tracy shared me her flu there 3-4 days ago, and I've been laid up with it. But she really got sick. I'm popping vitamins and everything else, stem it off, so I'm not too bad. But boy, oh boy, everybody I talk to has been getting sick. Well, my biggest issue here is not just the conversion rate with from the U.S. to Canadian and vice versa. It's the buying power that's really driving me crazy. Even it's I mean, the cost of groceries here have increased over 50%. I mean, you go into the grocery store, and you look at something that would, well, a good example. I used to be able to get myself a nice steak for barbecues and whatnot, and $10-15, and it was fine. $35. Even things like watermelon, I couldn't believe how much I had to spend for a watermelon. Everything has just gone up crazy. So, and McDonald's, forget about eating the junk. McDonald's, it's a good way to lose weight, because I used to be able to go in and feed myself and my wife and kids and spend $20. Now I spend like $45 or $50 for my wife and I alone. Yeah, but I heard that Florida's actually doing pretty good. You guys seem to have your stuff together. I'm being polite here. Wish Canada and the rest of the states would follow suit. Oh, I didn't know that. How to get rich, stay single. Not necessarily. Yeah, I know. I have no choice to stay away from it. The you get these phone plans, and Tracy and I, of course, we're on the same plan, but two different phone numbers. I neglected to tell her that we get free long distance calling in North America, so I can call anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. It doesn't add anything to it. I love it, not like the old days. But she's been calling Great Britain, and I got my phone bill in today, and I had a minor heart attack. Uh, she spent almost $100 on long distance charges, and she's like, "I thought it was free." No, it's not free. But yeah, I said, well, why not use the internet? I mean, we've got all these programs you can chit chat face to face. What are you showing off, Nessie? Yeah, you know what, William? Like I was saying earlier, I don't know if you caught it, but my son and daughter-in-law and my grandchild are moving in with us. Now, the deal there is really simple. They don't have to pay rent for the next 3 years. They can stay rent-free. They will have to pay half the utilities and their own groceries. But the amount that they will be saving is nearly $2,000 a month. So with that, they'd be able to put aside enough. Instead of waiting 25 years to have a down payment for their house, they'll have enough fairly shortly. And they'll have the option, if they want to, buy this house. And we'll give them an opportunity to do that. If not, well, they can go somewhere else, and I'll put this one on the market. But got to give them a chance, because kids today, they need it. They need a break. I mean, holy cow! My first house cost me $200 down. I'm not lying. $200 down. The interest rate was high. It was like 9.25%. but it cost me $18,000 and it was on a double lot. And it was a bungalow. And bungalows typically are more expensive. Now, that same house, it's located in Windsor, Ontario, $1 million. $1 million. Another one thing that I should have held on to. Yeah. Oh, pets. Now you're talking on a sensitive. That's the one thing I do. I miss my Lightning, my puppy dog. But I'm not missing the mess that I had to clean up in the backyard. That's my lawn's going to look really good this year. We're going to be putting in a few of the raised gardens. Kaylin, my daughter-in-law, she's already got one of them that's ready to set up, and I'm going to order two more. They're 17 inches tall and I think 8 foot long and 3 foot wide. I'll put two of those in, and she'll put hers in, and we're going to do gardening and try to cut down on our expenses that way too. Won't be putting any radishes. I don't like radishes, but I'm going to see if I can get potatoes and tomatoes and carrots and that sort of thing. Maybe even some squash. Yeah. Well, if your salary starts changing, especially if it goes the wrong way, that's a problem. Yes, and that's the whole thing. And I hate to say this. I'm going to use a word that's politically incorrect now, apparently, because we're supposed to call ourselves white people instead of Caucasian. We have a problem with having too many people in our home. And you see a lot of especially immigrant families. They'll have multi generations in the same house, and it works because they save up enough money so that one set of parents and kids can move into a house, and that way they work to establish themselves in the country. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because of our habits back in the 50s, but we just did our own thing and we wanted our own space. Well, guess what? We're going to have to turn it around. Yeah, that's one of the things I was thinking to do too, Jason, is the I won't go through them. Okay. Divorces. I went through one of those. Both my exes are gone now, but the manufactured homes here, of course, yeah, you could probably get one for 55,000 here, but it wouldn't be very good. And you're paying $640 a month US, so that's pretty close to the same what we would pay, but converted to Canadian. So they're like $750, $800 a month for lot rent. Unless you can pay it outright, it's not worth your while to get a place like that here. It's just not. They've got that again. If I get enough from the sale of this house, I might consider it. But at my age, I kind of like the idea of just getting into a senior's residence, no grass to cut. I won't be using their eating facility. The older ones can do that. You can have yourself like a 2-bedroom apartment and set down a little kitchen and whatnot. That would be just fine. Well, I'm glad you do. And that's really good actually these days. $1,500 in bills. If that's all you're putting out total, that's not bad. You get, if you've got the pensions coming in. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, gas is getting up here too. Um, and we got a prime minister that's pushing these electric vehicles, and they're all well and good, but they first off, they're way too expensive. There's not enough places to for charging stations. There's we have a climate here. If you get a battery operated vehicle and you have between -40 -50 for weather during the winter, they freeze up unless you have yourself a heated garage or whatever. Um, we have vast expanses. We got to remember, you guys in the UK, you can fit 3 of the entire United Kingdom in the province of Alberta alone. That's how big it is. We're kind of like Texas's big brother. We're huge, absolutely huge, but most of it's empty. Most of the population is within 100 miles of the U.S. border. Just massive amounts of open space. So when you have that kind of space and you get cities and towns that are many, many miles or kilometers away from one another, you better have yourself a decent vehicle that's not going to, you don't have to spend 6 hours recharging every few kilometers that you have to travel. You need something that can travel. That's why they're looking at high-speed rail. They're looking at improving the infrastructure. They have to do it too because for those in the U.S., you may not be aware, Greyhound moved out, so we don't even have bus service between our cities. And they used to go to all the small towns and everything. There's none of that. It's gone now, and that's so you've got to have wheels. That's why I think it's a joke when our government's pushing these changes on us when we're not ready to do it. Oh, William, I went at my mom's passing. I was the one that inherited my mother's cookbook. She was a chef de cuisine. She was absolutely a marvelous cook. Actually, I know she was a good cook. She kept me chunky. Uh, and the rest of my family are just hankering to get a hold of it. Well, I've been trying to transcribe a lot of her recipes so that my kids get them and spread it out a little bit before I pop my clogs. But yeah, nothing like mom's cooking. Yeah, well, that's what it's for. They maintain the roads. You've got the garbage pickup and the lawn service, but just in the fronts. In ours, you have to mow your back area. Not sure what you mean there, blistering. Shear this out. All skipper is me good, pal. Yeah, we love you too, buddy. Well, it does. That's life, William. That's just life. I remember talk about family history. Uh, when my mother passed, before she passed, she always told me that when she goes, she wanted a Viking funeral, and I thought it was, rather humorous. Okay, you want a Viking funeral, great. Well, my mom liked to eat, and she got pretty big. In fact, when she passed away, the coffin she was in was shaped like a boat. My brother did the eulogy, and he looks at her. He goes, "Ma, you got your wish. You're gonna have your Viking funeral." And sure enough, so she was cremated in this monster. uh, Funny or what? She had a good sense of humor too. Yeah, I stood by my mom. We were her test subjects. Um, she tried a lot of things. I have to admit, most of them were really good. But there were a few things she made that she could never get right. Uh, Eggplant. She was no good at trying to cook eggplants. She tried so many different weird things, and I said no, eggplant never. And I only learned how to use eggplant uh, much later in life. When I was in the Middle East, I learned how to use it. And now, whenever I make my falafel, I include eggplant, fried eggplant, in with my falafel because it's like a mushroom. They absorb the flavors that they're cooked in. So that's not too bad. Uh, I can't say that I've got a family member that had terrible cooking. Um, I think I was the only one that made one faux pas. I think I made spaghetti sauce one when my taste buds went. I had facial surgery to correct it because I lost all my taste buds, and I put too much vinegar into my into my spaghetti sauce, and that didn't go over very well. So I think that was my only really bad mistake that I made. Are you still allowed to have a Viking funeral? No. When I get planted, I get Veteran Affairs puts me in a box and puts one of their generic headstones up there. The only thing I would like is I'd like the top shaved off and have a crib board drilled in so that I get visitors to come and play crib when they come to visit me. Either that or a little hole in one they can play some golf. Yeah, I know that, Nancy. Oh my goodness gracious. Dale is in the house. Yes. Hey, buddy. How are you? Oh my goodness. You know, I think I wonder how long. Let me take a look at that. Okay. I'm going to touch throw on a little 3 minute or a little over a 3 minute video here to give you a little more insight into Samuel de Champlain. It's a little bit different than the one that we saw earlier, and give you an idea of what this gentleman's like. We'll just quickly take a look, see who else we got here. Really, that's cool. Yeah, I got even though I got a lot of information from my mother, I did a 6 months cooks learners course when I was in the military. I was infantry, but the sergeant's mess ran out of money to have proper cooks in their mess hall. So they said, "Well, you guys can either learn how to cook and work for 6 months in the sergeant's mess, or you can go out the field and do exercise." I'm going to go cook. So I did that for a while, and that was great. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Oh, good to see so many people out today. Yeah, and don't forget hit that like button. And if I missed, I think I got everybody blue. I'm doing better myself. I was sick for a little while, but I'm getting there. Okay, let's take a look here.
Quebec is well known as the French-speaking part of Canada. But before it was a part of the land of Maple Leaf, it was a part of British North America, and before that, New France. Hence its settlement in the 17th century by French speakers who became the Quebecois of today. But given the former British control and their past animosity with the French, why didn't France ever try to retake Quebec for itself? Why did they just leave it to their rival? So France controlled Quebec from its first settlement there in the early 17th century to 1763. And this was the year that France accepted defeat in the 7 Years' War, named so because it lasted for 9 years. As a result of that defeat, Britain took all of France's land east of the Mississippi, in order to consolidate its control over North America and give its loyal colonists there, who were loyal, room to expand westward. Some stuff happened, and it wasn't long until British North America saw a rebellion which led to the creation of the United States of America. During the American Revolutionary War, the French got involved, and given Britain's defeat in 1783, why didn't they try to regain their lost land from 20 years prior? Well, there were several reasons. The first was that occupying territory made it much easier to claim, and Britain still held Quebec. And also, in a war that doesn't end in one side's occupation, you can't demand everything. And what France had pushed to gain was Tobago, because sugar plantations make all of the money, unlike Quebec, which just exported fur. The second reason was that France had largely got what it wanted, and that it wanted to aid the US to make Britain economically weaker, and that had been achieved. There was no sense in pushing too hard and forcing Britain to keep fighting, which would have been expensive. Which brings us to the third reason: money. France was mostly broke at this point, and re-establishing imperial control over a colony that wasn't very lucrative in the first place was quite expensive. So what about after this? As you'll know, the American Revolution wasn't Britain and France's last war, since the French Revolution and the subsequent Napoleoning of Europe meant that there was plenty of war to be had. France, however, despite Napoleon's many victories, wasn't in a position to invade North America because the Royal Navy was blocking the way, and also Napoleon didn't want to upset the United States. And so, with this knowledge, better plan. Sell Louisiana to them and use the money to fight and defeat as many enemies. And after Napoleon's eventual defeat, there was no more wars between Britain and France, so gaining Quebec that way wouldn't be possible. Furthermore, as time went on, Quebecois and French culture diverged, and the connection between the two became weaker. For example, during World War I, the Quebecois opposed conscription since they had no loyalty to either the British Empire or their French ally. And as a result, over time, both sides ceased to see each other as the same people, but as sort of cousins. That's not to say that France had no interest in the area. In the 1960s, independence for Quebec became a major political issue in Canada, and the French followed it closely. Infamously, this period saw French President Charles de Gaulle shout "Long live a free Quebec" during his visit to Montreal. This, shockingly, caused a diplomatic incident, and de Gaulle immediately left for France. After this, most French leaders took the position of not officially taking a stance, but closely following Quebec independence movements. But that said, despite taking an interest, there was zero desire for Quebec to join France on both sides. Too much time had passed, and France had missed her chance. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and thank you for watching, with a special thanks to my patrons,
Well, all right. Well, de Gaulle did not say that in English. He said, "Vive la Quebec, vive la Quebec libre." His exact words. So you can see, it's from Champlain right up through it, that the whole issue has affected us. It's made Quebec and the rest of Canada very very unusual. And thank you for swinging by, Conan around. Always nice. And that's why we're doing this. We want to share the history, but we're also going to be showing, like I said, two sides of the same coin. You have good and you have the bad, and you have a little ugly too. So we're going to do that every week. I'll try to make it as often as I can, a minimum of once a week. And again, I've got my friend Dale and Austrian Stacker. They have things that they'll be contributing, but with my history, we're going to take a look at that. We're not going to be looking at the cleaned up history. We're going to be looking at the stuff that happened that we kind of push aside, and really we need to see both. So we won't be guilty of repeating the same problems in the future. Is that creme fraiche coins? Sorry, I had to pick on. Yeah. We have seen some older coins up here, but not a lot. Not you'll find a lot more of them down east. Quite a few of them. There have been a few, especially during the time when the Northwest Mounted Police were out here, and I believe, who was it? It was what was his name now? Alex Archbold. He had a great one where he was preparing to add an addition to his little shop, and he saw something glinting in the spoil from the Bobcat, and he went over to it, and there was essentially was like a keychain, and one of the things was a gold coin. I think it was a half sovereign or something beautiful. It was gold, but it was gold. So that's rare. I mean, but we do find some older stuff. You got to remember too, it's been quite a while since even we've had pennies in Canada, and trying to find any of the big ones, that's quite a challenge. You know what? Back when they essentially they forced us to be bilingual, and a lot of the English speaking Canadians really took offense to it, because jobs were going to those that could speak English and French, and so you had a real disadvantage if you couldn't speak both languages. As you go further west, it's not as prevalent, but when you head down east, and especially in Quebec, you better know how to speak French. So, je parle un petit peu français, but you've got to do it. And our French is not Parisian French. I got shut up so fast in France. Oh my goodness. That's our French. You don't know how to speak. You speak English. Okay, fine. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Yeah, we've come a long way since we used the 303 and the 7.62. We're now on. We've got the new NATO rounds. We match the same ammo as the U.S. But there was a time, and we talk about history. NATO used to have a real issue with our equipment, rifles, ships, aircraft. Everything for every nation had different sizes, different parts. You couldn't even connect the fuel for the ships because the nozzles were, so they had to have a half a dozen different nozzles to run fuel into ships and stuff. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. So now that they've finally someone woke up and said, okay, we're going to have to do this so that we have a consistency throughout, because it puts us at a disadvantage. And that's why so much is interchangeable now. I myself, I don't like the smaller rounds. I understand the sense, because the smaller rounds tend to tumble, but at the same rate, the mindset is, and we're talking warfare, tumbling rounds, it does a lot of damage, but in a lot of cases it won't kill you. Whereas if you hit someone with a 7.62, it'll make a nice little hole going in and blow your back off. I used to be able to cut down trees with that. It was quite powerful. So they figure, if you're on a battlefield, it's better to injure an enemy soldier. That way it takes 3 guys out of the battle. You got to have stretcher bearers, so they haul them off, and it cuts down on the number of people that are against you. So yeah, there's logic in what they were doing, but I never fired any of the new stuff. The newest U.S. weaponry I ever fired was the M16. I mean, so that I'm really dating myself here. Oh, I just got what Jason said about fat finger syndrome. Yeah, I know. It's even better when you get essential tremors. It's not A space relax. It's A. Oh, good for you. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's bringing me back. I didn't do anything like that, but I did when they used to have pro boxing as a kid, and that's where things have changed a lot too, because we did a lot of work as kids. Uh, One of the things I used to do is I used to sell programs for pro boxing events. So that's very cool. How many of you recall a time when as a kid you'd still have to go to school, but I used to have to cook in a bakery. I cooked in two different bakeries, uh, Modern and Adler Bakery as a kid, and that was well before I enlisted in the army at 15. So we used to do that. Now, of course, the child labor laws and everything, even without the labor laws, trying to get a kid to do anything now is like pulling hen's teeth. All right. Well, that's absolutely super there. Excellent. Yeah, I'll look forward to that. Yeah, and in future, I'll be sending out for those that are coming up and sharing time with me on screen. I'll send you the links separately. We're going to try to keep the chats separate, but at the same rate have because this is more of an educational uh, channel, but we've got again Austrian Stacker, and we got Coin World UK, who have agreed to assist with the channel, and they'll most likely, of course, be sharing theirs on the I don't know what you call it, where on StreamYard you can all share the same. All right. Well, folks, I think that will be it for today. If anybody has any last minute things you want to share, please do it now. And after this, we'll look forward to doing another video within the next week or so. Again, I do apologize. It's been months and months since we've done anything, and it's just part of life. We had so much going on here. And of course, my friends too, overseas, they had a whole bunch of things they had to deal with. So we will be sharing more and more with you as time goes on, because we've missed you guys. And I do, as you know, I've tried to get out to your different channels and visit you in your live feeds. This is enjoyable, and I do hope that you get something from the videos and the information that we have here. So with that, I am going to say goodbye and thanks you to Nessie. I'm glad that you made it out, and we will see you out there. Take care, everybody.